The TikTok ban goes down to the wire. Is Jensen Huang wrong about quantum computing? And the Linux Foundation pushes Chromium towards true open source. Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. The fate of TikTok is heading to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the stakes couldn't be higher. President-elect Donald Trump has asked the court to block a looming ban on the Chinese-owned social media platform. But in a surprising twist, many of his fellow Republicans are urging the opposite, backing the law that would force TikTok's parent company ByteDance to sell their app or face a U.S. ban by January 19th. The case pits national security concerns against free speech rights. TikTok argues that banning the platform would violate the First Amendment, restricting speech for its 170 million U.S. users. Former national security official Timothy Edgar called it the most significant free speech case in at least a generation. With the court's 6-3 conservative majority, all eyes are on how the justices will rule. Adding another twist, there are people trying to buy TikTok before the ban takes effect. Billionaire Frank McCourt and Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary are leading a group called the People's Bid for TikTok. They've made a formal offer to buy TikTok's U.S. assets from ByteDance, proposing to rebuild it on American-designed technology to address security concerns. But ByteDance has repeatedly stated TikTok is not for sale, complicating the bid. With a Supreme Court case, a Republican divide, and a potential acquisition in the works, TikTok's future hangs in the balance, and the outcome could reshape free speech and national security policies for years to come. The Linux Foundation is taking steps to make Chromium-based web browsers truly open source. Since its launch in 2008, Chromium has served as the foundation for browsers like Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and Opera, but it's remained largely under Google's control. Now, a new initiative called the Supporters of Chromium-based Browsers aims to change that. Launching this January, the project will give developers and the broader open-source community a neutral space to collaborate on creating new browsers. While Chrome will remain a Google project, new and existing browsers can now be developed under the Linux Foundation's leadership, reducing reliance on Google's direction. There are some surprises in who's supporting this, including Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Opera. All of them are backing the initiative. Google's VP in charge of Chrome, Parisa Tabriz, called it an opportunity to build a sustainable open-source platform for future browser innovation. Meanwhile, Microsoft VP Megan Perez said the project aligns with their commitment to collaborative web development. The differences between Chromium and Google Chrome matter here. Chromium is more open but lacks features like automatic updates, Google Services integration, and DRM modules, making it less commercially polished. The Linux Foundation's Jim Zemlin said this initiative will empower developers and ensure funding for independent innovation in the browser space. With support from some of the world's biggest tech companies, the Linux Foundation is signaling that open-source browsers are here to stay and will evolve far beyond Google's footprint or influence. Quantum computing stocks took a nosedive this week after NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang predicted that practical quantum computers could be 20 years away. The comments made during his keynote at CES 2025 triggered a sell-off, wiping out over $8 billion in market value. Shares of Rigetti, D-Wave Quantum, Quantum Computing Inc., and IonQ all dropped more than 40%. But not everyone agrees with Huang's outlook. CEO Alan Baratz, in an interview on CNBC, called Huang dead wrong, pointing out that D-Wave's annealing quantum computers are already commercially viable and solving real-world problems. Baratz highlighted clients like MasterCard and Ford who are using D-Wave's technology today, not in 15 or 20 years. And Baratz also noted that Huang's timeline might apply to what's called the gate model of quantum computers, but it doesn't reflect the current capabilities of D-Wave's annealing approach. According to Baratz, D-Wave machines can solve complex problems such as material simulation in minutes, something that traditional systems would take millions of years to compute. Despite D-Wave's defense, its stock plunged 36% following Huang's remarks. However, Baratz remains confident emphasizing that quantum computing is already making a commercial impact and is far from the distant dream Huang described. Now, I'm a big fan of Jensen Huang, and I'm not going to be one to throw stones living in my glass quantum house and all that. It's easy when you're speaking to put a controversial statement out there or put a spin on it without really thinking of the impact. And it's a warning to all of us that in a world of sound bites, sometimes we need to dig a little deeper to find the nuance and the truth. That's our show for today. Just a reminder, we have our first weekend show with the panel from Project Synapse to talk about what's coming in AI and what is going to be a year of incredible transformation. Check it out as early as Saturday morning. You can find show notes at technewsday.com or .ca. Take your pick. You can reach me at editorial@technewsday.ca. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a fabulous Friday.